Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Podcast. Today, I got a pretty interesting episode for you guys, all NBA, and we're going to be talking about why the Blazers are actually going to be a really scary first-round matchup potentially, and how the Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks were able to dominate the Celtics in last night's game. So that's what I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to go ahead and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers as soon as possible, and hit the notification bell. And also, don't forget to check us out on Spotify and iTunes. I forgot to mention that in some of the videos, but we're going to put the link in the description below so you guys can listen to this podcast on the go or whenever you guys have time. Maybe you're doing something, you don't have time to sit down and watch a 15, 20-minute video, so you guys can definitely go ahead and do that. Now, I'm not going to take too long in this particular video today. I'm just going to be doing a recap and giving some of my thoughts on what I thought about the games last night. Now, I was able to watch the games, and the season's been pretty interesting thus far. And as I told you guys in the last episode, I want to try to cover as many different teams as I can during these playoffs and the end of this season, because I know that a lot of you guys have been asking us to, cover a bunch of different teams, and we're going to try to do that. Now, granted, it's a lot of work. We're going to be trying to post every single time, every single day this month, and also all throughout the playoffs. So we're going to be doing our best, and we appreciate your patience with us. We appreciate a lot of the comments that you guys have been giving us in the comment section and the feedback, because to be honest with you, you guys are what make the channel what it is. If you guys aren't giving us your feedback and your opinions, then, it's just some people up here doing videos. So we really appreciate that. And it gives us a lot of, inspiration and insight to some topics that we want to do in the future. So let's just get straight into it. So I want to talk about the Blazers game versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, we all know that the Western Conference, the playoff seeding is going to be pretty tight. And we have some teams that are contending for that final 8th seed in the Western Conference. We have the Portland Trail Blazers, we have the Kings, I believe, then we have the New Orleans Pelicans, and we have the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, for me, I think Portland is the most intriguing potential number 8 seed if they can get that spot to go against the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round. I think it's going to be a fantastic potential first round meetup. Now, we know the Lakers are just the magic number for them, and they just need one more win to lock up the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. And I think it's safe to say that they're going to get at least one more win in the remaining 7 games. They're fresh off of a win against the Clippers, and all they need is one more, and chances are they're going to get it. So if we look at the current NBA standings in the Western Conference right now, the Lakers have a 50-14 record, and then the Clippers are at number 2 with the 44-21 record, but then the Denver Nuggets are right behind them with a 43-22 record. I don't think the Clippers are too preoccupied with seeding. I think the most important thing to them is getting into a rhythm, making sure that the team is fully healthy, all the players are available. I know Lou Williams is going to miss the next game that they're playing today, but I know that he's going to be available moving forward for the remaining 6 games, and then Montrezl Harrell should be on his way back, and they're going to be ready by the time the playoffs kick off, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, looking at the bottom of the Western Conference, it's a pretty tight race. The Mavericks dropped the game to the Houston Rockets last night, and the Memphis Grizzlies lost the game to the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Pelicans, of course, they dropped the game, so they're now down to the 11th seed. But Portland is only 3 losses behind for the final 8th spot, but they did beat Memphis, so they're 2.5 games out of the 8th spot to get to the 8th spot. So it's going to be interesting to see how Memphis goes for the rest of this season. And Portland has a lot of experienced players in Damian Lillard, Carmelo Anthony, and CJ McCollum. And looking at last night's game, it was pretty interesting. Funny thing is, I actually wasn't intending to cover that game. It was just something that I was actually waiting for the Milwaukee and Boston Celtics game to start. But then I caught that game towards the tail end, 3rd, 4th quarter, and I just decided to watch it. And there were some things I was able to take away from the game that I did watch. Now, first of all, the Portland Trail Blazers had some fantastic ball movement in the third and fourth quarters. I don't know if you guys saw the game, but for me, I saw that they were playing very unselfishly. The ball was moving. Damian Lillard was doing an exceptional job just orchestrating the offense for them in that fourth quarter. And if I had to look at the score, the Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, he had 29 points but 9 assists and 5 rebounds, so he was fantastic. Carmelo Anthony hit some big three-point shots in that fourth quarter, and I think he had like either 3 or I think he hit like 3 3-pointers in that third quarter. He had 13 points and he had 16 and he had 19, and I think he hit another 2-pointer. So he ended up finishing the game with 21 points and 7 rebounds, and he was doing a fantastic job blocking out, getting defensive rebounds, which really helped them, to really complete their stops that they needed to beat the Memphis, the Memphis Grizzlies. Another bright spot was C.J. McCollum, man. This guy, I just want to say, man, this is one of the scariest backcourts in the Western Conference. Obviously, the best backcourt in the Western Conference is Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. But right after that, it's, these guys are just lethal. And C.J. McCollum finished with 33 points, and he was just a magician from the mid-range, and he was killing them, especially when the game went into OT. When the game went into overtime, that's when the Trailblazers just took it to another level. They went to the next gear. Like if they were in 6th gear, they went to the 7th gear. And the Memphis Grizzlies couldn't really do anything with them at that point because they just don't have the experience. And Damian Lillard was the one that really closed out that overtime. When they got into overtime, Damian Lillard showed why he's Dame time, and he was able to get some separation from the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, on the Grizzlies side, though, Jaren Jackson Jr. scored 33 points. John Morant, the sensational rookie, most likely going to be the rookie of the year, he scored 22 points, got you 11 assists and 5 rebounds, and he played 41 minutes, so he had a well-balanced game. Then you had Brandon Clark, who chipped in 21 points, 2 assists, and 7 rebounds. And they had a balanced attack, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. Now, if I'm looking at Damian Lillard's numbers this year, I mean, quietly, the guy is averaging 29 points a game, 4.3 rebounds, and 7.8 assists. He's shooting 39% from the three-point line, playing 37 minutes a game, and getting you and shooting 88% from the free throw line and getting you 1 steal a game. So Damian Lillard is putting up fantastic numbers. If we look at his running mate, C.J. McCollum is averaging 22.7 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. Also a lethal, three-point shooter at 38% from the three-point line. The free throw line is pretty interesting. He's 75%, which one wouldn't expect, and he's getting you close to a steal a game with 0.8 steals a game. Now, looking at this backcourt, I think when the Portland Trailblazers are firing on all cylinders, now that they have pretty much everyone healthy and the supporting cast is playing well and Carmelo Anthony is coming off the bench playing very, very well for them, I think they can be very scary. What they have when you have Melo, C.J. McCollum, and Damian Lillard is you have a lot of three-point shooting and you have a lot of spacing on the floor. If you watch them, the type of action that they were running with Damian Lillard orchestrating the offense, he was able to get dribble penetration, collapse in the defense, and you have wide open three-point shooters who can hurt you from either side of the court, hitting those corner threes, and that's how they were able to pretty much come back and finish off that game. So when you have Carmelo Anthony out there, who's a capable three-point shooter and also able to get hot quickly, then you have C.J. McCollum, who is deadly from the mid-range, and you have Damian Lillard, who is probably one of the most nuclear players in the Western Conference. You have a recipe for disaster if you're an opposing team. If these guys get hot and they get into a rhythm, it's going to be trouble for them. Now, I don't know if they have anyone potentially, if they were to play the Lakers in the first round, to match up with AD. I don't think most teams do, but the Lakers losing their premier perimeter defender in Avery Bradley, they're going to have some challenges, keeping up with these two backcourt players. Now, LeBron, he showed his versatility on defense versus the Clippers on his ability to be able to switch off of Paul George and switch on to Kawhi Leonard and vice versa. But I don't think the Lakers have anyone who can guard Damian Lillard. And if they do, who are they going to put on CJ McCollum. So they're not a first round draw that any team wants to get. And if these guys continue to play well and they do make it into the final 8 spot, they're going to be pretty scary. Now, Charles Barkley came out and said that he believes that the Portland Trail Blazers, if they were to play against the Lakers in the first round, that they could potentially upset them and actually win that first game. Now, I think they have a chance because when you have a backcourt that's that explosive, and Damian Lillard, who, I mean, you guys saw what he did last season in the NBA playoffs when he scored 50 points, hitting that 3-pointer in the face of Paul George, who was one of the best two-way players in the NBA, to clinch that series. They're not somebody. This is not a team to be trifled with because although they haven't had a fantastic season, they are still dangerous. And in this bubble, anything can happen. So for me, I was really impressed with how the Portland Trail Blazers were able to beat the Memphis Grizzlies and come away with that much needed win. So that was one of the games that I was able to watch last night. And another marquee game was going to be between the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. That was another game that I watched, and it was pretty exciting, to be honest with you. Now, from what I saw, the Bucks were leading pretty much most of the game, and they led all of the first half from what I was able to see. Giannis Antetokounmpo, well, Giannis is Giannis, and the funny thing about it is Giannis is so efficient. He's so efficient when he's in the game. By the first half, the guy already had a double-double, man. Just think about that. By the first half, I think he had like 16 and 10 or something like that. And, if I look at his minutes in the game, I think Giannis didn't play. Okay, Giannis played, looking at his minutes here, Giannis played 32 minutes, right around his average Giannis is playing 31 minutes a game, okay? And in that game last night, Giannis Antetokounmpo, if I'm looking at these numbers here correctly, Giannis Antetokounmpo was able to get you 36 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists, man. And if people out there wondering why this guy is the MVP of the season, just look at these numbers, man. I mean, he's doing everything for you, and he's only playing 32 minutes a game. If we look at his stats this season, now that the season is underway, the guy is averaging 30 points a game, 13.8 rebounds, and 5.8 assists, shooting 55% from the field, all in 30 minutes, virtually 30 minutes a game, shooting 63% from the free throw line, but also getting you 1 steal and 1 block. So he leads his team in points, rebound, assists, steals. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy when you think about it. Now, it's also important to note that, in the third quarter, that game got a little bit closer, but, when the game was tied with like 2 minutes left in the third quarter, Jason Tatum only had 3 points. And it shows that the defense that they were able to play on this guy, I think he went 2 of 13 from the floor, and he ended up finishing the game with like 5 points. So he was pretty much a no-show in that game, and he didn't play well at all. I think by the third quarter, he was 1 from 10 from the three-point line, from the floor. But I also saw the versatility of the Bucks. I mean, for instance, Robin Lopez was hitting corner threes. I mean, think about that. Robin Lopez, who is their center, who is a 7-footer, is out there hitting threes. But the dude also had 6 blocks. Think about that. The guy got you 6 blocks. And Giannis's running mate in Chris Middleton got you 18 points and 5 rebounds. Brook Lopez chipped in 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 blocks. Then you have Dante DiVincenzo. He chipped in 10 points and 6 rebounds. And Wesley Matthews got you 9 points. And then George Hill got you 7 points. So they had a balanced attack. And this is one of the reasons why it's no surprise that they have the best record in all of the NBA. And why Giannis Antetokounmpo is most likely going to win the regular season MVP award. So looking at the way they were able to play that team, they beat them 119 to 112. Now, granted, if Jason Tatum had played better, maybe the outcome would have been different. But that can be the truth for so many different games that we watch throughout the season. If this person played better, if that person played better, if this person hit that free throw, if that person hit that 3-point shot, if that person didn't have that turnover. So that we can play out all of these scenarios as much as we want, but in the end, this was the final score. And if I had to look at the stats from both teams, the Bucks shot 31% from the three. The Boston Celtics shot 29%. So both teams didn't really shoot really well. But the Boston Celtics shot 40% from the field, whereas the Bucks shot 46%. The Bucks were able to assist the ball. They had 25 more assists. They had 7 more blocks. They had 9 steals. The teams were both tied in turnovers at 15 each, and that's to be expected because teams are going to be pretty rusty coming into this bubble. And as Reggie Miller said, defenses are going to be ahead of the offense. It's just natural. Excuse the noise in the background, but if they play more as they play more games together, you should see that the players should be a little bit more polished, and you see a lot less turnovers as games are moving forward. So for me, those are the 2 big games that I was able to watch last night. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo just had another statement game as to why he should be the regular season MVP. The Bucks still have the best record in basketball. And, they showed their dominance once again on one of the teams in the Eastern Conference that's supposed to be allegedly a threat to them in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And so for me, I was impressed, more so impressed with the Portland Trailblazers, because with the Milwaukee Bucks, it just looked like business as usual. But with the Portland Trailblazers, given the fact that they need to get these games in order to get that final 8th seed in the Western Conference, I think they did a fantastic job securing that win. I think the Pelicans are just going to fall out of contention because I don't think that team is ready, to be quite honest with you. So I think it's going to come down to the Trailblazers, the Memphis Grizzlies, and possibly the Spurs fighting for that final 8th spot. We're going to see, because the Grizzlies have 34 losses to the Trailblazers 37. So the Portland Trailblazers, the degree of what's the word I want to use? Let's say the room for error is a lot smaller. So they just need to keep winning. And the Memphis Grizzlies, essentially, we need to keep losing. Now, the Memphis Grizzlies have lost the last 2 games, and Portland has won their last 2 games. The Pelicans lost the game, and the Spurs are there as well. But let's see as the season progresses how things are going to pan out. So what I want to know from you guys is, what did you guys think about these games? Also, what did you think about my breakdown about these 2 games? Let me know what you thought about everything that I mentioned in this episode here. Once again, I want to thank you guys for all of your support and your attention. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you go ahead and do so, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content so you don't miss anything. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day, and don't forget to check out the Dreamerspro Podcast. We're going to have that linked in the description below. Wishing you guys a fantastic day, and catch you on the next episode. Peace.